Libra, welcome to your February 2021 Astro update. It's Rena here. So I was a little bit confused when I was going to do your video because I was thinking to myself, wait a second, I have already done this, haven't I? And I think the reason that I was thinking that is because in January, some of these things were already in play and they're just continuing. So what I'm referring to is a strong amount of energy in the sign of Aquarius. And I've already done videos. They might be separate or combined. I can't remember for your sign or your rising sign on Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. So you can check that out on my channel if you haven't heard it. It's more of a recording than a video. And so basically, because these are planets that are with longer transits than Venus and Mercury, as we're going to see for February, they're going to exert an influence that is much longer than a mere few weeks. And this is in a really great area, the fifth house. I think that of all of the signs, you probably are going to have the most fun, instead of like some signs, it's going to be more about really working hard. But for you, it's about celebrating life and about maybe falling in love. And if it is about falling in love, maybe somebody that you're actually going to stay with. The fifth house can be affairs, but with Saturn there, it could be something that is much more serious. And creativity, so just being very prolific and feeling inspired by life itself. On the first of the month, Venus goes into this party situation. Because remember, we already have the Sun in Aquarius, and we also have Mercury in Aquarius, and it's retrograding at that point. So this could bring, with Mercury retrograde in the fifth house and Venus there, could totally indicate somebody from your past, an ex-lover coming back into your life. Now, you may have decided that relationship or the promise of that relationship wasn't really there. And so you may resist temptation to go back into that situation, but you might think about it. I mean, that's really what Mercury is about, rethinking something. And now we have Venus there on the first, and it can make things a little bit more complicated if you still have feelings for that person. On the 11th, there's a new moon here, and at 23 degrees of Aquarius. Remember that Aquarius is an air sign like you, Libra, so it forms a trine, and this is the easiest angle, the best angle for easy manifestation of whatever it is that you want. This is new beginnings as it relates to perhaps new love, new creative projects, a new business. But if you are launching a new business, you might choose to wait until the 20th when Mercury goes direct. I mean, it's up to you. On the 18th, the Sun goes into Pisces. And for you, Libra, this is the sixth house of work. So this is when things start to get down to brass tacks. It's kind of funny. The transition from the fifth to the sixth houses can be like, okay, the party's over. Now it's time to, organize my life, be more work-oriented. Maybe the best scenario is that February, the first half of February is occurring before you're starting a new job. That would be like the very best thing, because then you can just let your hair down and have fun for a few weeks and then go back into that situation. Mercury goes direct on the 20th, and so you're whatever it is that you have been trying to decide or plan out better. This is going to be the beginning of maybe your decision having been made. On the 25th, we have Venus going into Pisces. So Venus goes into that 6th house. Venus can bring money where she goes, and the 6th house is the house of the workplace. It's a house of co-workers. So you can find love in the workplace. You can get a raise with Venus here. It can give you harmony with co-workers. You might be sprucing up your office to make it more pleasant to look at. Libra is a sign that tends to not really feel okay unless everything is harmonious with the environment. And so that might be something that you really do on a regular basis in your life. I just wanted to note, too, that Neptune has been transiting through this house for probably 9 or 10 years now. And Neptune in the 6th house can lend itself to choosing work of a more spiritual nature. So if that has been the way that you have done things, then maybe this is somebody that you meet who is a serious, that you feel romantic towards, and they have that in common with you, that they're interested in the spiritual as well. On the 27th, we have a full moon at 8 degrees of Virgo. So Virgo, it's funny because Virgo is the ruler of the 6th house, so that's certainly interesting. Virgo is a sign ahead of you, obviously. And so that means that when we look at the chart, what is ahead of the 1st house is actually the 12th house. Given that the circle is eternal, these transits are always going around, and they don't stop at the 12th house. They go back into the 1st house. This full moon can indicate some sort of closure to something that, has been maybe plaguing you, that whether it's a fear that you can't name, an unnamed fear, an addiction that you have, or some kind of obstacle that is a self-defeating pattern. You can be aware of it and more able to let go of it. But this is going to be especially the case for those that are 0 to 8 degrees of Libra. If you're a later Libra, this may actually fall in your 11th house, and this could be shining a light on the friendships that you have. Maybe you're letting go of them, some of them, for a particular reason. The fact that we have so many transits into Aquarius is the ruler of that 11th house, and it speaks to groups. And Libra is one of those signs that is a natural in front of others. And, you're very social. You tend to be. I'm not going to say 100% of Libras. There are always outliers, people who defy the patterns. And sometimes this has to do with your particular, if you're listening to this for your sun sign, your particular house that your sun is in. Some Libras will have their sun in the 12th house, and they may be quite comfortable with a lot of solitude. Whereas the typical Libra people, their lifeblood is, socializing, connecting with others. And when they don't have it, they don't feel quite like themselves. So, and yet, there are times in our life where if we're involved with something, we have to reevaluate it. We have to think, is this really for me? And sometimes things come to light that make you realize, oh, okay, this is what these people are all about. This group that I thought I really would identify with really isn't on the same page with me. And Libra people tend to be attracted to the law, but also to politics. So being an activist, being part of a group that is trying to change the world can be something that is attractive to you. But of course, even in those types of groups, people clash over ideology. You know, what is the framework that is informing the decisions of the group? And if they're not in alignment with the members, then some people are like, whoa, I don't want to be part of this anymore. Now that I see what you're doing, it doesn't align with what I'm about. And so that's an important thing to remember. It could be, cutting off contact from a friend. Maybe they have betrayed you one time too many. It could be learning something. My computer just slid off my lap. It could be learning some news about a friend. Not anything that would cause you to necessarily cut off. I suppose anything is possible, but I'm talking about a more positive interpretation would be learning something about them through the grapevine, and then maybe that causes you to contact them to lend your support. But anyway, that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that that sounds like stuff that could possibly happen in February. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Thank you. Take care. Bye.